Listen to this podcast now on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Why is the middle class shrinking? Why are people facing an affordability crisis while marginalized individuals called informals grow in numbers? Join me as I travel the world, speaking with people living in invisibility, the leaders working to solve it, and uncovering the hard truths shaping our economy and daily reality.
Download all of Red Apple Media's podcasts right now through your favorite podcast platform.
Study and play come together on a Windows 11 PC. And for a limited time, college students get the best of both worlds. Get the Unreal College Deal. Everything you need to study and play with select Windows 11 PCs. Eligible students get a year of Microsoft 365 Premium and a year of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with a custom color Xbox wireless controller. Learn more at windows.com/student offer. While supplies last. Ends June 30th. Terms at aka.ms/collegepc.
Are you still a Knicks fan, President Trump?
Well, I am, and I get along with Jim Dolan. I think he's a really nice guy, and he's entitled to a good team because he's suffered a little bit. And, boy, some of these players have turned out to be great players.
Yeah.
It's great. No, I really like Jim Dolan a lot. I'm really happy for him and for the team. I think it's great.
That was President Trump with me. Now, when I asked Trump that question on this show, you guys all heard it, it was right after we beat Philadelphia. So we were heading to the Eastern Conference Finals to take on Cleveland. We made very quick work of the Cavaliers, and we're starting to make very quick work of San Antonio. With that said, this guy is one of the radio treasures in this country, ranked number 7 on the Heavy 100. That is no small feat. A legitimate superstar who happens to reign from San Antonio, Texas, although he is a former New Yorker. Saw him on Friday, did a tremendous job, and his daughter, Sammy. It's my friend Joe Pags. Joe, good Monday morning, buddy. How are you?
Sad. Sid, I'm sad that you played 1999. What are you thinking, dude? You guys lost.
Yeah, we did, but that was then.
By us.
Yeah, that was then. And here's the bad news for you. Okay. As Rick Pitino once said, Tim Duncan is not walking on the court tonight, my friend. Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, they're not walking on the court tonight. And Wembanyama has proven, even though he's a magnificent talent and maybe the best player in the league in a year or two, Towns is physically keeping this guy out of the game. And if you don't get huge efforts from Wembanyama, this thing is over on Wednesday night. That's the bottom line.
Well, a couple of things. First of all, I'm honored to be on the program. This is got to be the best morning show on the planet. First of all. Second of all, I'm still a New Yorker. I'm not a former New Yorker. I was born in Amityville. I'm from Copiague. And I would have been pulling for the Knicks had it not been the San Antonio Spurs. I've been here for 3 championships now, and I'm a big Spurs fan. Listen, Wembanyama is like 7'4" or 5" and weighs 122 pounds. I'm not really sure what are you going to do with that guy? Cat must outweigh him by 150 pounds, right?
He does. And he's not going anywhere near the paint, and Cat is having big offensive efforts. So Brunson, he's going to outplay the rest. And look, you got 6 guys on that team that average double digits, right? You've got Wemby, and you've got Vassell scores a bunch of points, and Champagne, and Harper, and Castle, and Fox. But the only real star on that team, we got a couple. And Jalen Brunson hasn't even played well. He had a rough first half in Game 1, did not play well in Game 2. He's been our MVP this whole run, and we're still up 2-0. So all I'm saying is read the tea leaves. Back in New York, this team's won 13 straight. You had opportunities to win both home games in the first 2 and walked out without a win. I know you're a Knicks fan at heart now in San Antonio. Just from an unbiased standpoint, there is really no logical reason to believe that the Spurs are going to win 4 of the next 5 games.
Well, I think the Spurs have to hope to end the streak and maybe win a game or 2. I hope that they win because I've been here for a long time. I know a lot of the people in the Spurs organization. I've had people like Tony Parker and Bruce Bowen and others on my show. In fact, I gave Bruce Bowen his start in radio. But wow. You're right. It's not the same team. This team is there way earlier than anybody thought they would be. We thought 3, 4, 5 years from now they'd start dominating and might have a decade in them to dominate. This team is so young, Sid. You know they're going to be around for a long time. But let me say this. Let me give I've got to give Brunson his flowers. I mean, I had no idea this guy was that good. I knew he was good. But in crunch time, when Wemby starts to crumble, this guy rises. It's unbelievable what Brunson has done. And I thought his father was going to get in a fight with Fox the other night. I thought that was pretty interesting, too.
Hey, Rick Brunson, who was a basketball player, too, can still handle himself. He's probably my age, 60. But I do have to ask you this, Joe, because above and beyond basketball, again, you're a legitimate superstar, number 7 on the list, best friends with Sean Hannity, good buddies with me. You're magnificent on the air, magnificent. And I know you love your basketball team, but how do you root for a team? It's an honest question. That is coached was coached by that reprobate Greg Popovich. How do you do that?
Well, I got to throw this out there. I was in with the Spurs really good. Like, I was playing the national anthem at the Western Conference Finals against the Lakers back in 2013 or 2012, whatever it was. I mean, I was in really, really good with them. But then Pop did what he did about misogyny and Islamophobia, and he did all this stuff attacking Trump, and I said something on the air, and I was out. So I don't have that kind of connection, that kind of relationship anymore, because I heard him say it, and I know that here in Military City, USA, in San Antonio, at least half was not in line with what he was saying and didn't like it. And there were a lot of empty seats for a long time. People have gone back now. A lot of that politics stuff isn't happening anymore. That was well over 10 years ago. But I'm with you. I mean, I hear you. I had Pop on my show once. I think you asked me this at Talkers the other day, and we talked about wine and Italians because he couldn't talk about the NBA. It was during the lockout. Yeah. But when he did that, I felt, because you feel the same way in the job that you and I both do, I felt a responsibility to my audience that I had to say something, and I did, and it cost me. But I wasn't afraid to do it, and I'd probably do it again.
God bless you. Him and Steve Kerr in Golden State, Stan Van Gundy when he's coaching.
It's so much. It's so much freaking noise. You just feel like telling them, just shut up, man.
Right.
You're a great coach.
Right.
Coach basketball.
Yep.
Like Michael Jordan said in the 80s, even Republicans like sneakers. Stop separating the audience. You want all of them, don't you?
100%. Like Laura Ingraham said, just shut up and dribble. Just shut up and coach. Yes. This is the great Joe Pags. So I did your great podcast and show last week before you're doing this today. Yes. Thanks for the payback. And I was on, for the most part, to talk about the mayor. And again, you're a New York guy, spent a lot of years on Long Island. That's, I guess, how you and Sean Hannity got so close. And you asked me a lot about the mayor because last week was the Israel Day Parade, and I was on locally NBC4. I told Melissa Russo the mayor wants us dead. I've doubled down on that. I've tripled down on that. As far as I'm concerned, he wants Jewish people dead. He's done nothing to show me anything different. Nothing. What he says means nothing to me. It's what he does. He is now endorsing some of the worst candidates you've ever seen. I mean, this one Congress lady he's endorsing up for Congress here in New York was at an anti-Israel rally on October the 8th. October the 8th of 2023. These are the people. Yeah, it's crazy. So, again, as a New Yorker, I know you're living in Texas right now. When you watch, Joe Pags, what's going on with Mamdani in our city, you're thinking, what?
Well, first of all, I was stunned that the guy won because I feel like New York is hitting critical mass like it did when Rudy won, when George Pataki won. I think that a lot of New Yorkers, I thought they were going to hold their noses and vote for somebody other than this guy, especially with the 25th anniversary of 9/11 coming up. I was blown away that he was voted in. But you've been saying it all along. I've been listening earlier this morning, and you and I talked face-to-face on Friday. This guy is an actor, start to finish. He's an actor. He'll say whatever he has to say to get it. Once he gets the power, he's going to be who he truly is. Second thing, I can't believe you're not going to the stadium tonight to go watch the game. Which is
you really have been listening. Good job, Joe. Good job.
You know what? You know what that reminded me of, Sid? I promise you, it reminded me of Barack Obama. Do you remember when Barack Obama was sitting in the booth with the guys calling the Chicago White Sox game? And the announcers, innocent as they could, looked at him and said, "Mr. President," he was the president at the time, "Mr. President, what team do you pull for, the Chicago Cubs or the White Sox?" He said, "Why? I'm a White Sox man. I'm a South Sider." I go, "Okay. Who are your favorite White Sox players?" Sid, I swear, he couldn't say one player.
Not one player. I remember I kept saying,
no idea who ever played.
I know. I kept saying, "Scream Ron Kittle. Scream Ron Kittle. Give me something."
Say something.
Yes. But so
Mamdani is the same freaking guy. Yep. He's going to lie. New Yorkers are now wise to him. The affordability thing was a lie. The grocery stores thing was a lie. Taking care of the homeless was a lie. And free buses, that was a lie. Now he wants to take up and have the city own every property so that you can go to Daddy or God Mamdani and say, "Can I please have a place to live?" This guy's going to be one and done. Sid, tell me he's going to be one and done, please.
I can't. And, I've gotten so many people, Joe Pags, from Laura Trump, the beautiful daughter-in-law of the president, Bruce Blakeman, he's running for governor right now, I got a laundry list of big names that are begging me to run. And look, I'm about to do a new radio deal, and, this is a pretty good paying job, and I love doing this, and to think about giving up all that money.
You're so good at it.
Thank you, you too. To deal with the city council and state legislators and the governor, that idiot, it doesn't seem all that attractive to me, but it's so bad in the city that if I have to, I will consider running. But truth be told, right now, even if Jessica Tisch runs, our amazing police commissioner, I don't see anybody beating this guy, at least not right now.
Wow.
I don't see it.
It's stunning to me because I figured that there'd be voters' remorse almost immediately, Sid. They see that this guy was lying about almost everything. And he balanced the budget by begging for $4 billion more from Hochul.
Correct.
How is that balancing the budget? You're just borrowing it from somebody else.
That's correct, but they're too stupid. Yeah, he's a mess, but these kids aren't paying attention, and mommy and daddy are still paying their rent in Williamsburg. They're going to Starbucks during the daytime and going to clubs and doing cocaine at night, living the life, taking the ferry to the beach every day, and they're not paying attention to stuff like you and I, so they just don't care. This is a simple yes or no question. We saw President Trump's response on NBC yesterday. Spencer Pratt is going to lose. He's going to lose. Write it down. It's over. It's going to be Bass and Rahman for the mayor's race in L.A. Hilton is holding on to second ahead of Steyer, but he's not beating Becerra come the general election. So no Republicans are going to win in the state of California. Very simple question. Is that election rigged?
Yes.
No doubt.
And by the way, Sid, we're allowed to say that. People keep saying that you can't question the 2020 election. You can't question what's going on in California. You can't question Georgia and Michigan and Arizona from 2020. Of course you can. We have the right under the First Amendment to say what we want to say. And if I don't think the election is going right, and if I think there's something wrong with it, I'm allowed to say that by law. And there is going to be a DOJ investigation into what's going on in California. That's a restriction of rights. That's stealing the franchise from people. You can't vote and count votes for 30 days until you get the right result. That's ridiculous.
Your daughter, Sam, who's lovely and very, very bright. The apple did not fall far from the tree. I loved her on Friday. I know she's in England right now, but she'll. I'm not sure if she'll be home or not. But
she's listening, by the way.
Oh, she is. Hey, Sammy. Yeah. Be safe out there in London. Either way, you are going to be celebrating on Friday, like I am, Non-Gestating Parent Day. Congratulations.
Come on, man. I was sitting in a restaurant on Long Island, right by Hofstra, where you and I both were. And I'm sitting there, and the waitress comes up and says, they're freaking crazy around here. They're out of their mind. I said, what are you talking about? She said something about gestating parents and not gestating parents. You can't say mother and father. I said, stop it. So she pulls it up on her phone, Sid, shows me as I'm ordering the sausage and peppers. And there it is. And Kathy Hochul might sign this freaking thing. Yeah. I was blown away. I said, what is wrong with you people? And she said, how is Texas? I'm going to move to Texas. I said, don't move to Texas. Stay here and fix this. Get rid of these people. The more people get up and move to Texas and Tennessee and Florida, the harder it is for anybody in New York to fix what's wrong. I thought it was a joke. I thought it was the Babylon Bee. But truly, you can't say mother and father soon.
You really can't. And I think you're right. I think Kathy Hochul will sign it. They say it's because there are kids that are adopted, all this other nonsense.
That's
but
stupid.
It is unbelievably stupid. Okay. So here we are. It's time now. I know, Joe Pags, It's tough. You are a New Yorker. But again, as you mentioned, you celebrated 3 championships as a most recent San Antonio native. What happens tonight? In fact, more importantly, who's going to win this series?
Well, listen, the Knicks are going to win. Nobody's ever come back from 2-0 in the NBA Finals. It's just not going to happen. And I think the Spurs will win plenty with this lineup if they can keep them together. But I do think the Spurs get a game in New York. I think they have to. There's no way they're going to be swept. I don't think the Spurs have ever been swept in anything. So I think just as a matter of pride. Listen, Sid, if you're 7'4", don't you stand under the basket and just dunk all night?
Yeah.
Maybe Wembanyama can stop going to the three-point line with Cat and stand under the basket and do something. And let me call out some of your fans, can I?
Sure.
I'm flying back from New York to Texas yesterday, and the flight attendant, as we land, says, "Welcome to Texas. Go Knicks."
Oh,
right?
yes.
So we start booing a little bit, and then she says, "Oh, if you didn't hear me, go Knicks." So I walked up there as I'm leaving. I said, "Listen, go Spurs, go," and you don't even know it's freaking "Let's Go Knicks." She just said, "Go Knicks," right? Sid, you got a bunch of bandwagoners. Let's admit it. Let's tell it. Now, you're not.
No.
The president isn't. And I certainly would have been pulling for the Knicks had it not been the Spurs. But you got a bunch of bandwagoners.
Oh, there's no question. You see these massive crowds outside the Garden. Now, they've canceled the Garden celebration tonight, but they've got 3 others, Woolman, Rink, and Bryant Park, and the Brooklyn Bowl. And they're a bunch of snot-nosed kids, hip high on meth. And I'm telling you, I say the same thing all the time. They're not watching the Knicks and Trailblazers in November like I am. They're not watching the Knicks and the Memphis Grizzlies in December like I am. But for your case, they're not watching the Spurs and the Nuggets in November. But it's a big party. Everybody's into it. I'm going to go buy myself a jersey for $40 and wreak havoc in this city because the city is all about havoc because that speaks directly to the mayor. This mayor is all about chaos, and that's New York City. Is that fair to say?
It's absolutely fair to say. By the way, I'm with you. President Trump absolutely should be at this game and the next game. And Stephen A. is dead wrong about this. I was on Stephen A.'s show, quite frankly, back in the late 2000s, and he's a good guy. I like Stephen A. He's a conservative, by the way, fiscally. I think you know that. But at the end of the day, what he's saying about Trump not going is incorrect. Trump should be there. He's been a fan for life. He's been a New Yorker longer than Stephen A. Smith has been alive.
Fair enough. Excellent job, Joe Pags. Really great job this morning. And again, congratulations on a monster career. You really are one of the all-time greats. I mean that. I'm not just patronizing you. One of the all-time greats. And I look forward to you coming on this show many, many, many more times in the near future. Joe Pags, excellent job. Thank you so much.
Truly an honor, brother. Just keep on doing what you're doing, Sid. What you're doing makes a lot of difference. It really does. Thanks, man.
I appreciate that. God bless you. And hello to Sammy, too, listening in London.
Thanks for listening to Sid and Friends in the Morning. You can hear Sid and Friends in the Morning weekday mornings at 6. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?